Imagine the comforting aroma of freshly baked bread filling your home, the warm, soft texture melting in every bite. Don't worry, this recipe is made just for beginners. With simple steps, no stress, and absolutely delicious results, it's everything you need to succeed. Take a deep breath. This is the recipe that will change everything. I'll be right here with foolproof tips to guide you, making it so easy for you to follow and recreate at home with confidence. So stay with me until the end. Don't miss a single moment, because we're about to turn this into your new favorite homemade bread recipe. Let's start by making the yeast mixture. Take a small bowl and pour in 400 milliliters of milk, then add 50 milliliters of cream. It makes the bread extra rich and soft. Next, add 3 tablespoons, or about 45 grams, of sugar. This step not only adds a touch of sweetness, but also gives the yeast the energy it needs to work its magic. Finally, sprinkle in 2 teaspoons, or 6 grams, of instant dry yeast. Now give everything a good stir to combine. Since I'm using instant dry yeast, there's no need to activate it separately. It dissolves easily and gets right to work. But if you're using active dry yeast, you'll need to mix it with lukewarm milk and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes until it's nice and frothy. Once everything is mixed, set the bowl aside. Let's give it a moment to rest while we move on to the next step. Now, let's move on to the dry ingredients. Take a big bowl and add 600 grams of bread flour. I'm using bread flour for its high protein content, which helps create that perfect texture. If you're using all-purpose flour instead, no worries. Just remember to slightly reduce the liquid in the recipe for the best results. Next, sift the flour. It's a simple step that ensures our dough stays light and smooth. To this, add 1 teaspoon, 5 grams of salt. It enhances the flavor beautifully. Then add 4 tablespoons, 40 grams of milk powder. Trust me, the milk powder adds an incredible depth of flavor. But if you don't have it on hand, you can simply skip it. Your bread will still turn out amazing. Now comes the exciting part, bringing it all together. Take your yeast mixture from earlier and pour it into the dry ingredients. Slowly start to combine everything, mixing until the dough begins to form. At this stage, you might notice the dough feels sticky. That's completely natural. Don't worry. As we knead, it will come together beautifully. This is just the dough's way of telling us it's ready to transform. Stick with it, and I promise the results will be worth it. All right, it's time to knead the dough. I'll be kneading by hand today, so let's treat this as a fun little workout. Let's get to it. Turning the dough out onto a clean surface with just little flour dusting, and use the heels of your hands to push and fold the dough. You'll notice it's sticky at first. Don't panic. Just keep going. With every press, fold, and turn, the dough will start to transform, becoming smooth and elastic. After 3 to 4 minutes of kneading, you'll notice the dough is starting to smooth out. This is a great sign. Now it's time to take it up a notch by adding soft unsalted butter. But here's the key. Don't add all the butter at once. Add it slowly, a little at a time, and continue kneading as you go. Make sure the butter is soft. It's easier to incorporate and makes the kneading process much smoother. At first, adding the butter might make the dough look messy and slippery. Don't worry, this is completely normal. Trust yourself and keep kneading. With every turn and fold, you'll see the dough transform. It will absorb the butter, becoming incredibly soft, smooth, and elastic. Exactly what we're aiming for. So keep going, and I promise your hard work will pay off in the most satisfying way. Now, here's an important tip, especially if you're working in the summer or in a kitchen with high humidity. As you're kneading, you might notice the dough becoming warm. If this happens, don't panic. Just pause your kneading and place the dough in the fridge for about 15 minutes. This helps control the temperature and keeps the dough from overproofing. Kneading time can vary depending on how you're kneading, whether by hand or with a machine. It's not about rushing, It's about paying attention to the dough and letting it guide you. Once you feel the dough has come together beautifully, take a small piece of dough and perform the window pane test. Gently stretch it between your fingers. If the dough stretches thin enough to let light pass through without tearing, it's ready. Now that our dough is perfectly kneaded, it's time to let it rest and rise. Take a clean bowl and lightly grease it to prevent sticking. Place the dough into the bowl and cover it with cling film or a clean kitchen cloth. This step is where the dough doubles in size, becoming airy and full of life. Let the dough rest for about 1 hour or until it doubles in size. The time may vary depending on your kitchen environment. If your kitchen is cold, here's a little trick. Place the bowl in the oven with just the oven light turned on. This creates a cozy, warm environment for the dough to rise. But here's an important tip. Never place the dough in a high-temperature area to speed up the rise. While it might seem like a shortcut, this can cause the dough to develop a strong, beer-like or yeasty flavor, which we definitely don't want. Now that the dough has risen beautifully, it's time to move on to shaping. Since I'm making 2 bread loaves, I'll divide the dough into 2 equal pieces. If you're making a single loaf or a different shape, feel free to adjust this step to fit your vision. It's all about what you want to create. Take 1 piece of dough and roll it out with a rolling pin. Then roll it up tightly into a loaf. Remember, this step is flexible. The dough is yours to shape as you like. Now that we've shaped the dough into beautiful loaves, it's time for the final proofing. This step is so important because it determines the texture and rise of your bread. Carefully place the shaped dough into greased loaf pans or on a baking tray, depending on your design. Cover the dough with a clean kitchen cloth or cling film and let it proof. But here's the key. Proofing time isn't set in stone. It depends on the weather, the temperature of your kitchen, and even the humidity. That's why it's so important to watch the dough, not the clock. Now proofing is complete. When the dough is almost done proofing, preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius, 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Before we bake, let's add the finishing touch. Gently brush the top of the loaves with milk to give them a soft golden shine. Carefully place the loaves into the oven and let them bake for about 30 minutes. When the bread is done, you'll know because your kitchen will be filled with the irresistible aroma of freshly baked bread. That's your sign. It's time to take them out and let them cool, but don't rush just yet. We're almost ready to enjoy your masterpiece. Just look at this perfect bread loaf, a masterpiece in every sense. The golden crust, the soft interior, and the unique aroma that fills the air. Everything about it is absolutely perfect. When you slice into it, you're met with a texture so perfect it almost feels like a dream. This isn't just bread. It's proof that the simplest ingredients, when handled with love, can create something truly magical. Take a moment to enjoy it. You've earned this perfection. I hope you loved this video as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really means a lot. Share this recipe with your family and friends so they can enjoy it too. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another delicious recipe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.